Okay, thank you.
There is a question from one of the listeners, Princeton. Uh, Namaste and respectful pranam. Many things said so far to emphasize the capacity of the Jivatma to control their actions, with emphasis on engaging in spiritual activity for the ultimate benefit of the self. But Krishna concludes in Gita by saying, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami masucha. Surrender to him alone. This seems to place emphasis on Bhagavan as the controller who has infinite capacity as opposed to our finite capacity. Would you please comment on this? Bhagavan
Absolutely.
Or we control?
Because you're right. Because see, what I was speaking about was from a particular tradition, which is an Advaita Vedanta tradition, so which lays emphasis on self-inquiry. But the Bhakti tradition will lay emphasis on God. So take the help of God. If you have faith in God and hold on to God, God will do whatever is needful. God will do that to you. Will give you bhakti, will give you jnana, moksha, whatever you need. God will give you. So that is also one path, definitely, and that's a powerful way. This is a path of self-inquiry, jnana, the Advaita Vedanta path. The two paradigms are different. Another way of understanding this would be, in the Mahavakya and the Upanishads, Tattvamasi. You are that reality. So this is the basic idea of Advaita Vedanta. But in that also there are two sides, Tat and Tvam. Tat means Bhagavan, Brahman, and Tvam means you, the individual. Now you can do your sadhana based on you, the individual, or you can catch hold of Bhagavan, the Tat. So what you are suggesting is, why not catch hold of Bhagavan? Yes, you can do that. Then Bhagavan is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. It's much more powerful. Yes, only problem there will be that it requires great faith. See, you exist, you know that. There's no doubt about it. Nobody has to come and tell you that I exist or tell you that you exist. Our own personal existence is very clear to us. But Bhagavan's existence has to be taken on faith. Scripture is telling me, Guru is telling me. And if you have that kind of faith, and many do, you can proceed that way also. Or you can, if you want to start on this side, you can start with inquiry into the self. But anyway, I mean, there is nothing to be said to what you said, because it is straightforward. What Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, there can be different interpretations of that. One interpretation is this, is that, remember, he was talking to Arjuna, and it is there, the religion they understood mostly at that time was a Vedic ritualistic religion. And there always the fear at the back of their mind was, I have to do this yajna, this Vedic karma kanda. And here is Krishna telling me about yoga, about bhakti, and about jnana. What about my religious practices? And Krishna is saying, don't worry about that. You can safely give up all that if you take refuge in me, in Ishvara. You will not lose anything at all. And in fact, you will gain much more and much more easily and much more sweetly, because you have got bhakti to the Lord. So that might be the meaning of give up all the dharmas, means what you think is dharma, Vedic karma kanda and all of that, that you can give up. Krishna bhakti is much more powerful, is much more superior to merely ritualistic performance of Vedic karma kanda. That is one interpretation.
Swamiji, namaste. You said in the beginning that Advaita Vedanta is referring to a different paradigm than the Bhakti Vedanta tradition?
Yes, yes.
But these are both coming from the Vedanta Sutra, so I'm not seeing how they refer to it might be two different interpretations, but yes. Vedanta Sutra itself is speaking of one paradigm, of the conclusion of Veda.
Yes.
So it seems that the paradigm is a singular paradigm, but it's just some different perspective on what that is, but that perspective then shapes how we actually engage in sadhana and practice, and what the actual aim of that sadhana is. Like, so far I've heard more emphasis on renunciation. Yes. The common agreement is exploitation in material world we don't want that. Everyone, all Vedic schools agree on that, no doubt. We don't want exploitation in the Maya.
I will, excuse me, sir. I think, your question have been already answered by Swamiji. We
Yeah,
can
let
discuss
me
more
just-
on that later.
Yeah, but it was a good point. Let me just respond to that. What he's saying is right. Call it different paradigm or different interpretation. But you see, using the word paradigm or interpretation, using the word paradigm is a little better. Why? Otherwise, if you use interpretation and you say it leads to a singular conclusion, then the question will arise which interpretation is superior or is correct and everything else is wrong. So one approach might be, my interpretation is this, and my school, my tradition interprets the Vedas in this way. And then what about all the other schools? Well, they are all wrong. Mine alone is right. That could be one option. And that was the option for many people for many centuries. But a wiser and better and wider way of looking at it is the same Vedanta Sutras, same Upanishads, same Bhagavad Gita has commentaries written by Adi Shankaracharya, by Sri Ramanujacharya, by Sri Madhvacharya, the Achintya Bhedabhed school. The ISKCON is following the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, which the core philosophy is the Achintya Bhedabhed of the Shada Goswamis. Then there is the Shuddhadvaita of Vallabhacharya. There is the Nimbarka Dvaita Advaita. So all these paradigms. Now, will I say these are all interpretations and one alone is right and all the others are wrong? Or should I say that all these interpretations in schools follow from commentaries on the same texts, and the texts themselves are so capacious that they can be interpreted in different ways depending on the different paradigm, and they all work. It may be that the one does not suit you, another one suits you. One is not your tradition, another one is your tradition. That's great. Sri Ramakrishna would say, Jato mat tato pat. As many faiths, as many approaches as you have, so many paths to the divine. He would say that the pitha, the sweet preparation which you offer to Krishna, we make, you can eat it in this way, but it will taste equally sweet. You can eat it in this way, you can twist it around and eat it that way. It will taste equally sweet. So what I'm just saying is this: if you stick to that interpretation, that the Vedanta Sutra has one conclusion, and therefore it has to have one interpretation, then you run the risk of saying that all other interpretations are wrong. And that would be strange, because in every path you have had saints and holy people and elevated souls who are very spiritual. Otherwise, you'd have to say that there is no other saint except in my tradition. Everybody else is wrong. Everybody else is false. Everybody else is misled. That seems a little petty.
May I give one reply quickly, if that's okay?
Sure. That's not okay, actually. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Then just
the next question.
all right. We'll let the moderator take over.
Yes. There is a raised hand by Sudham Bhai. Sudham Bhai, you may ask your question, please.
Of spiritual practice, that's also good.
ମୋର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ଅଛି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ମୋ ନାମ ଭକ୍ତି ନିଷ୍କାମ ଶାନ୍ତ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ନବଦ୍ୱୀପ ଧାମ ଚୈତନ୍ୟ ଶାଶ୍ୱତ ମଠରୁ କହୁଛି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ଯେ
ଆପଣ ଏଠି ଅଛନ୍ତି, ପ୍ରିନ୍ସଟନରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ନା ନବଦ୍ୱୀପରୁ କହୁଛନ୍ତି?
ମୁଁ ନବଦ୍ୱୀପ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ମେମ୍ବର ଆମର ପ୍ରିନ୍ସଟନ ଇଏର ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନର।
ଆଜ୍ଞା, ଆପଣ ନବଦ୍ୱୀପରୁ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଅବିକା?
ଆପଣ କୋଉଠି ଅଛନ୍ତି?
ମୁଁ ନ୍ୟୁୟର୍କ ବେଦାନ୍ତ ସୋସାଇଟିରେ ଅଛି।
ଆଚ୍ଛା। ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ପଚାରିବାର ଥିଲା ଯେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯୁକ୍ତ ବୈରାଗ୍ୟ ଶୁଣିଛନ୍ତି? ଯୁକ୍ତ ବୈରାଗ୍ୟ?
ନା, ମୁଁ ଶୁଣିନି।
ଯୁକ୍ତ ବୈରାଗ୍ୟର କଥା ଚୈତନ୍ୟ ମହାପ୍ରଭୁ has explained about the concept of Yukta Vairagya. See, there is two types of Vairagya. One is Suska Vairagya, another is Yukta Vairagya. Suska Vairagya means...
I will interrupt you, sir. We are here to ask questions, and if you have to say another discourse, we can take it another time. Thank you so much, and you may stay mute, please.
No, but let me, Manoj, but he was making a nice point. I think, Swamiji, mujhe summarize kar de. Yukta Vairagya means it comes from bhakti, right? You are
no. Yukta Vairagya means you have to renounce everything that is not concerned with the interest of the absolute.
Yes.
What absolute wants, only that much devotees are interested with.
Very beautiful. Bahut sundar.
He is not interested with. So there is Yukta and Suska. Suska means they are looking for some liberation.
Yes.
And Mahaprabhu has explained Kaivalya Narkayate. This is hellish, the liberation. So
yes.
anyway, I think
No,
we are
it's
having very
it's a beautiful
intense discussion. But
it's
I
a
just
beautiful
wanted to make a
no,
small
it's a
point.
beautiful idea, very beautiful idea, and it's very nourishing to the heart that this servitude of Krishna, that I am the Nitya Dasa of Bhagavan, of Sri Jagannath, of Sri Krishna. And so
Swami is our Acharya.
again,
He has told one sloka, Anna Vilasita Sunna Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukullena Krishnanuslanam Bhaktiruttama.
yes,
Anna Vilas means that which is not concerned with the interest of the absolute. Those are all Anna Vilas.
yes,
So thus which is free from Anna Vilas and free from karma and gyan, that is the Uttam Bhakti.
right.
Okay,
And it's a very beautiful
That is
concept.
liberation.
And
That is
it's,
Vairagya. Anna Vilas is the Vairagya. When free from Anna Vilas is the Vairagya.
it's a very
Dhanyavad,
beautiful concept,
Dhanyavad.
and actually much more easier to practice. That one is it's a very beautiful and something that sadhakas should listen carefully to that. It is something that will benefit our sadhana, what he just said. Thank you. Namaskar,
Anytime you come to India, we are organizing a conference, Science and
Again.
Scientists.
Again.
Artificial intelligence versus natural intelligence.
ठीक अच्छे आज्ञा ठीक
In
अच्छे
December
हमें
12th
टिके
and 13th.
प्रोग्रेस करिवा आपण टिके काइंडली म्यूट
Yes.
रहंतु
Again.
we'll take a
Yes.
question from one
Thank
last
you.
question from the raised hand Mr.